From this Lego castle set that's probably older than you, to this Lego Death Star that shocked the entire world. These are some of the most iconic Lego sets of all time. This was the first ever set to be released under the Lego Castle theme, all the way back in 1978. Lego Castle is one of the most famous themes in the entirety of Lego history. Because of that, this set is worth over $10,000 in today's market. This is truly one of the most iconic Lego sets ever, but there are way more that need to be covered in this video. Don't worry though, I'll talk more about the castle later, so be sure to watch until the end and subscribe if you want to see a part 2 to this video. Up first, I want to talk about one of the most iconic Lego sets of the last 5 years, the Coliseum. For those of you who might not know, the Lego Coliseum is based on a real structure located in Rome, Italy. And funnily enough, it was actually Lego Italy that announced this set in the first place. On November 13th, 2020, Lego Italy announced that they'd be releasing the biggest Lego set ever. And after using the process of elimination, people were pretty positive that they were talking about the Coliseum. Obviously, they were correct, and on November 27th, the Lego Coliseum officially released. Lego was able to build up so much hype around this set that if you tried to buy it online, you'd have to wait in a virtual queue just to get a chance, which is absolutely insane for a Lego set. The Coliseum was released pretty recently though, so let's take a look at a set that's a little older. This is the Lego Galaxy Explorer, and it was released all the way back in 1979. Yeah, this Lego set is literally 45 years old. If you really stop and take a look at it though, you might start to question its popularity. So before you write it off, let me explain why this set is so popular. Back in 1979, space was all the rage. Just 10 years ago in 1969, the space race was all anybody was talking about. So a lot of kids grew up hearing and learning about space. The wonder of space is something that will probably never go away. But when the Galaxy Explorer was released, it was close to its peak. You might remember something about this set though, something that happened pretty recently. The Galaxy Explorer was actually remastered back in 2022, and it was literally identical to the one from 1979. The reason for this was because it was Lego's 90th birthday, and since the Galaxy Explorer had been so popular in the past, Lego figured this would be a great way to celebrate. The Galaxy Explorer is insanely nostalgic for Lego fans who are old enough to remember it, and for younger fans, they were finally able to get their hands on a famous piece of Lego history, even if it wasn't the original. Since we're talking about sets from the 1970s, let's take a look at another set from back then. This is the Lego Shell Tanker, and it's just one of the many different sets branded with the Shell logo. The first one was released all the way back in 1966, but tankers are so recognizable, so I felt like I had to talk about this one. Realistically, every set released with Shell is iconic. It's a partnership that everyone knows about, so there's no way I could have narrowed it down to just one set. This isn't the only theme that can't be narrowed down though. Another insanely famous Lego theme is Bionicle. Lego Bionicle was made all the way back in 2001, and even though it's been retired and brought back a few times, its legacy is untouchable. This is one of those Lego names that everyone's heard of. If you were a kid who liked Lego at any point in time in the last 25 years, you've either owned a Bionicle set yourself or watched the show on Cartoon Network. No questions asked. Bionicle was such a famous theme that Lego even made games for it in its prime. Bionicle Heroes alone was released on Xbox 360, the Nintendo Wii, and the Nintendo DS, and that's just one game. The fact is, Bionicle is in the Lego Hall of Fame, and I don't think anything can change that. Getting back to the sets though, I want to talk about another iconic landmark that's been turned into a Lego set. This is the Lego Eiffel Tower, and it's the second biggest Lego set ever officially released. It's made up of 10,001 pieces, and once they're all put together, the tower stands at almost 5 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet deep. Unfortunately, this set has a price to match its insane piece count. It retails for $630, so it definitely isn't cheap. Even though this is a ridiculous amount of money to pay for a Lego set, it can't be ignored that this is one of the most iconic sets of all time. I mean, come on, it's literally the Eiffel Tower. Now that we've gotten a few sets out of the way, let's go back and talk about the Lego Castle. As I said before, this was the first set to ever be released under the Lego Castle theme, which is a really big deal. This happened all the way back in 1978, and if you didn't know, that's the year that minifigures were officially created. So this set is not only the first from its theme, but it was also the first Lego set to have knight minifigures inside of it. These two factors are the secret behind this set's fame, so every time you see it, just keep in mind that minifigures hardly existed before it hit the shelves. For this next segment, I want to cover some of the most iconic sets from the Lego Star Wars theme. Now, there are a bunch of sets to pick from here, but first I want to talk about the original Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon. This set was released all the way back in 2007, and it paved the way for the Millennium Falcon we have today, along with all of the other sets in the Ultimate Collector Series. At the time, this was the biggest set Lego had ever released, so it was a really big deal. It had 5,197 pieces, so even even though it was under the Star Wars theme, it definitely wasn't made for kids. In 2008 though, the Millennium Falcon was blown out of the water when LEGO dropped the first ever Death Star set. Back then, this was the craziest thing ever. The Death Star played a huge part in the original Star Wars movies, so the fact that we had it in LEGO now was absolutely insane. It had 3,803 pieces, so it wasn't as big as a Millennium Falcon, but it didn't need to be. Scenes from the movie were recreated throughout the entire set, which made the building experience so much more fun. This is another set that easily makes it into the LEGO Hall of Fame, but the thing about LEGO Star Wars is that there are a bunch of sets like this, and this next one is no different. This is the Republic Dropship set, and it was released back in 2009. Unlike the Death Star and the Millennium Falcon, this set is from the prequel Star Wars movies, and since these movies were released right around the year 2000, LEGO couldn't have had better timing with this set. This set in particular depicts two vehicles that were first seen in Star Wars Attack of the Clones, which was released in 2002. So even though it took 7 years, this set had an insane amount of hype around it. Literally everybody wanted to build it. LEGO was on a generational run with LEGO Star Wars back in the early 2000s, so even though it was difficult to narrow down, I think these really are the most iconic LEGO Star Wars sets ever. Up next is a LEGO set based on one of the most popular TV shows in the last 20 years. This is the Office set, and it's based on, well, The Office. The show's claim to fame was that it felt very realistic. The camera work was very natural, and to a lot of people's surprise, a good amount of scenes were actually improvised, which definitely helped give it that natural feeling. Anyway, the LEGO set is the office space itself, and it comes with 15 minifigures who are all characters seen in the show. This is definitely one of the more modest LEGO sets on this list, but because of how big the office is, I just couldn't leave it out. Up next is a LEGO set from one of the most famous themes of all time, LEGO Ninjago. LEGO Ninjago was founded back in 2011, and it was an instant hit. A show based on the theme was aired on Cartoon Network, and even though it ended in 2022, the theme lives on today. Since 2011, 488 sets have been released under the theme, but one of the most iconic ones was actually made the year Ninjago started. This is the LEGO Spin Jutsu Dojo set, and back in 2011, it was the talk of the town. It had elements from every part of LEGO Ninjago. Firstly, it had the goat himself, Master Wu. Then it had the skeletons, and it had a piece that allowed minifigures to actually do spin jutsu. When you put a minifigure on this piece, you can spin it around and simulate what the ninjas did in the show. Now, obviously, since there are so many LEGO Ninjago sets, there are a bunch of iconic ones. So let me know what your favorite one is down in the comments. Up next is a LEGO set based on one of the most well-known tragedies in human history. This is the LEGO Titanic, and unfortunately, the story behind it isn't very happy. The Titanic was made back in the 1910s, and it was said to be unsinkable, but when it set out to sea, it never came back. I won't go into too much detail, but because of how famous the ship itself is, a lot of people wanted a LEGO set made for it. So in November of 2021, LEGO finally listened and dropped one of the craziest sets of that year. It came with 9,090 pieces, and once it was fully built, it was 4.5 feet long. Even though the story behind the real Titanic is super tragic, the LEGO version is up there when it comes to fame, so I had to make room for it on this list. Up next is a set based on one of the biggest video games ever created. This is the LEGO Micro World Village set, and if you couldn't tell, it was made for the LEGO Minecraft theme. Believe it or not, this is actually the first set ever released under the Minecraft theme, and back in 2013, this was the craziest thing ever. Minecraft is a game that's loved by just about everyone who plays it, so to be able to build it with LEGO was insane. This set doesn't really do justice to the LEGO Minecraft theme though, so let's look at another set from a little later on in the theme's life. This is the LEGO Cave set, and this one is unmistakably Minecraft themed. As you can see, we have Steve holding an iron pickaxe, a spider, a zombie, and a bunch of other crazy details. This set has a lot going on, and is a great way to show how versatile and adaptive the builders over at LEGO HQ can be. The attention to detail and simplicity in this set really is amazing, and since it's based on Minecraft, it's definitely one of the most iconic LEGO sets ever. Up next, I want to go back to the grand year of 1999. It was the last year before the new millennia. The world was excited and fearful all at the same time. So what better way to calm your nerves than to build the LEGO McDonald's set? Believe it or not, this is actually the only LEGO McDonald's set in existence. The two companies only collaborated one singular time, but they definitely made their mark. The McDonald's set only has 88 pieces and shows a McDonald's drive-thru window with a customer in a car and some outdoor seating. Obviously, there's nothing special about this set, but because of the names involved, it's become one of the most famous LEGO sets ever. This next LEGO set hardly needs an explanation. Everyone knows how iconic it is. This is the LEGO Hogwarts set, and I mean, just look at it. This goat of a LEGO set was released back in 2018, and it hasn't even remotely fallen off since then. Between the Easter eggs, the minifigures, and the sheer size of the set, there's no way the demand for it will ever go down. It's also based on Harry Potter, one of the most popular book and movie series ever, so I think we'll be hearing about this set set for a very long time. Up next is one of the most sought after LEGO sets in the last 5 years. This is the LEGO Batmobile Tumbler Edition, and since its release, the demand for it has only gone up. It hit the shelves back in November of 2021, so it was actually released pretty recently. It's an insanely cool recreation of one of the best looking Batmobiles in the DC universe, so it honestly isn't surprising how popular the set's become over time. It comes with 2,049 pieces, and even though that isn't a lot, people don't really care. I will say though, if LEGO were to ever make a bigger version of the Tumbler, it would sell out instantly. We all know how the saying goes, the bigger the better. This next LEGO set was actually released the same year as the Batmobile, but the hype around this one was way bigger. This is the Daily Bugle LEGO set, and it's one of the most well-known Marvel sets LEGO has ever released. One of the biggest reasons this set did so well was because of the minifigures. It comes with a total of 25, which is an insane amount for just one set. Another reason this set is so famous is because of the Easter eggs. There are loads of Spider-Man references throughout the entire set. They reference things from the movies, the comics, and even the video games. This set is every Spider-Man fan's safe haven, so if you love Spider-Man, you might want to try and get your hands on this set. Up next is another set that's one giant nostalgic reference. This is the LEGO Nintendo Entertainment System set, and for the older LEGO fans, this was a dream come true. The Nintendo Entertainment System was the first Nintendo console released in America, so it's definitely iconic in the world of video games. Because of this, the set was instantly famous, and a lot of people did not hesitate to buy it, even though it's $270 at retail price. Regardless though, the set is super sick, and is a great way to honor the legacy of Nintendo. What's Nintendo though without Mario? This is the LEGO Mario Question Block, released back in 2021. This set comes with 2,064 pieces, and even though it looks simple, it most definitely isn't. The block can actually be opened up, and when it is, it reveals a bunch of different Mario levels, and it even has some secret ones too. Unfortunately, there aren't any minifigures with this set, but it's probably meant for decoration, so they weren't really necessary. Last but certainly not least on my list is the LEGO Polaroid set. This set is actually one of the lucky few that got pulled from the LEGO Ideas Forum. In case you didn't know, LEGO Ideas is a place where fans can submit their own ideas for LEGO sets, and if you get really lucky, LEGO will actually manufacture and release the set you designed. When the Polaroid set first got teased, LEGO fans were going absolutely crazy, and when the set finally released in January of this year, it did not disappoint. It only comes with 516 pieces, but with them you can build the camera itself and a Polaroid holder. The set also comes with some mock Polaroids with illustrations of minifigures on them. With all of these insane details and the fame that Polaroid cameras themselves have, there's no way I could leave this set out of this list. What was your favorite LEGO set in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.